Where and why Pony.Ai gave U.S. officials free rides in unmanned cars. Why the California Department of Transportation revoked the robotaxi's license, what Chinese regulators banned the founders from doing, and how NVIDIA is involved in all of this. With the artificial intelligence boom set to begin in 2022-2023, all everyone is talking about is generative language models and neural networks for imaging. We decided to talk about a revolution that's happening right under our noses, but for some reason isn't getting as much hype: unmanned cars. Tesla, which doesn't have its own search engine yet, Yandex and Google are cool, but we're going to talk about the other search engine guys today. We tell you about how two developers from China's Baidu went to the States and built an international startup with billions in revenue. Two Chinese doctors. Pony.Ai is an international startup with Chinese roots. The project was founded by James Peng and Tiancheng Liu. Before co-founding Pony.Ai, Dr. Peng worked at Baidu and Google for 11 years. He holds a PhD from Stanford University and a BA from Tsinghua University. Driverless is the key to achieving full autonomy and an indispensable catalyst to realize our ambitious vision. James Peng, co-founder of Pony.Ai. Widely known in the programming community under the pseudonym A Crush, Dr. Liu is an 11-year Top Coder competition medalist and two-time champion of the Google Code Jam Global Programming Competition. Dr. Liu started his career at Google X before becoming the youngest T10 engineer in Baidu's autonomous driving division. Dr. Liu is also a PhD and also an undergraduate from Tsinghua. How the startup emerged and became a unicorn. Search engine Google was one of the first companies in the world to start testing unmanned cars. Or rather, its subsidiary Waymo, founded in 2016. In Russia, the pioneer was the search engine Yandex, of course. Well, the frontier of Chinese unmanned cars is being driven by the descendants of the Chinese search engine Baidu. In 2016, former Baidu developers James Peng and Tiancheng Liu, who had managed to work for Google too, launched their startup in Silicon Valley. Rooted in California, but retaining ties to the Middle Kingdom, the startups were able to get permission to test their drones in the States after a year and opened an office in Guangzhou, China. Between 2016 and 2020, Pony.Ai has attracted over $1 billion in investment from major players across industries and countries. Pony.Ai has been invested in by Japan's Toyota, Chinese automobile brand FAW, U.S. venture capital fund Sequoia Capital, Chinese game developer Beijing Kunlun Tech. Other major global brands among the project partners include Bosch, Hyundai, and GAC Group. About the numbers. In 2018, the company raised $112 million in an A round from venture capital funds. In 2020, it raised $400 million from Toyota and another $62 million from other companies during round B. In 2020, Pony.Ai was valued at $5.3 billion. In 2021, the company was planning an IPO on the New York Stock Exchange, but changed plans under pressure from Chinese regulators. According to the latest estimates, the company's value has passed $8.5 billion. Toyota has entered the startup not only with money. The Japanese are actively cooperating with Pony.Ai. Here is Lexus at the exhibition with equipment for unmanned transportation. Pony.Ai focuses on two areas at once. The startup is simultaneously developing and constantly improving its own software for unmanned cars and managing an ever-expanding fleet of cabs in different countries. Since 2018, Pony.Ai's drones have been plowing the roads of Guangzhou. At first, fewer than 10 robotaxis served a small area of 50 square kilometers. Gradually, proving safety and efficiency, the company received permits from the government to expand the travel area. The next time you hear about unmanned cabs, you're probably being misinformed. Most unmanned rides involve an insured driver. Of course, initially the trips were only de jure unmanned. There was always an insurance driver inside the cab. In the middle of 2023, Pony.Ai received permission to drive 17 of its cars on the territory of 802 square kilometers in the area of Nansha in the same Guangzhou, but without the presence of the insurance driver in the cabin. The passenger will now be the only living person in the cabin during the trip. The security service, however, always remotely monitors the course of the trip and can communicate with the passenger by voice. In parallel, the startup has been developing its U.S. division and launched testing of unmanned cabs in Irvine in California in 2019. The main stumbling block for unmanned cars in all countries of the world is robotaxi laws, which are very reluctant to be adopted by all world governments. Apparently, to lobby their interests at the legislative level, Pony.Ai has been organizing rides between government offices in unmanned cabs for civil servants in Fremont. The coronavirus pandemic and all the associated restrictions not only didn't undermine Pony.Ai's position, but helped the service find new markets. During the quarantine, the startup organized drone and contactless delivery of orders for food retailer Yamibui. The products were delivered by 10 Hyundai Kona SUVs as part of the project. Hyundai's unmanned SUVs in sunny California. As we continue to grow and scale, we have expanded our commitment to the community from unmanned delivery throughout the pandemic in California last year to dealing with the new COVID-19 outbreak in Guangzhou, James Peng said during the period of COVID lockdowns. In Guangzhou, a fleet of 14 unmanned vehicles deliver medicine, groceries, and health workers to local communities day and night. Pony.Ai always keeps social responsibility and puts the community at the center of everything we do. Pan added, driverless cars in California were allowed to drive on certain routes on weekdays between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. when there are relatively few cars on the roads and only in clear weather. Things were going well, but in October 2021, the Pony.Ai drone crashed into a road sign while driving in Fremont while making a turn. Following the proceedings, the California Department of Motor Vehicles revoked Pony.Ai's permission to test its robotaxis in the state in May 2022. However, failures in the U.S. that year were offset by successes in the startup's home country of the startup's founders, the Middle Kingdom. In 2022, Pony.Ai became the first drone car company to receive permission to test its robotaxis in Beijing. In 2023, the company reported that its drones had traveled a cumulative total of more than 20 million kilometers, nearly 1 million kilometers of which were without the presence of an insurance engineer in the cabin. This is as if a robot without a driver traveled 75 times from Moscow to Vladivostok and back. In total, Pony.Ai robotaxis have made more than 200,000 paid trips. How it works and where it is used. Pony.Ai drones work both on their own software and on the basis of the NVIDIA Drive Orin system, which is actively increasing its presence on the market. It is also used by many Chinese car brands that build driver assistance features into their cars. Pony.Ai emphasizes two aspects: developing proprietary AI systems that can make informed decisions to reduce risks and respond quickly to dynamic road situations, partnering with city authorities and other technology companies to create an extensive and integrated infrastructure for the drone industry in the coming years. In 2022, Pony.Ai said it will start full-scale production of unmanned trucks in 2024. Due to the autopilot, the price of trucking will be reduced by 10-20%. Chinese Sany heavy truck, such will be used by Pony.Ai in the launch of the Cargo Autopilot project. CNBC believes that releasing a truck on public roads will be much easier than passenger robotaxis. The reason is that trucks mostly travel on broadband highways, while cars make short but much more complicated trips in crowded pedestrian cities. Conclusions. Key talking points from the article to help you on your way to launching your unicorn. Market shocks and all sorts of radical bills, such as COVID restrictions during a pandemic, can not only limit but also expand business opportunities. Pony.Ai realized just in time to bring a new product to market during a lockdown: drone delivery. If you are developing a product not for an existing market, but shaping the market yourself, for example, launching unmanned robot cabs in cities, you should think not only about technology, customer service, and competitors, but also about laws. Pony.Ai, as well as other similar startups, understood this very well, which is why they actively lobbied the government for their interests. Think cross-border. It is quite possible that if Pony.Ai had not decided to enter both the Chinese and American markets at almost the same time, and had chosen only California, local giants like Google would have simply crushed them. Sometimes it's better to focus on one region, and sometimes it's better to diversify your presence. If your project involves transforming the urban environment, like scooter rental services or robot cabs, as in the case of Pony.Ai, you should definitely work in partnership with other market players and government agencies because you depend directly on the city's infrastructure.